Good morning, everyone. Welcome,
morning.
Pastor Doug Page, and Pray First. I'm Dennis. I'm sitting with Ann today. We're sitting in for Pastor Doug. This is an interactive conversation we have Monday through Friday, and it's where you can be involved as well. You can post, and first thing we're going to do though is ask you if you can hear the audio.
Yes. Sound check, please. Sound check.
You got my boomy voice and smooth voice.
Smooth. Yes.
And hey, Barbie Shook.
Good morning, Barbie.
Man,
Hey, Michelle.
So if just let us know if you can hear us. Good morning, Barbie. Yes.
Well, I think they
Michelle, Edge. Yeah, you guys, if you can hear us, let us
Anna.
know. What I want to do now is tell you if you're watching this live, hashtag live. If we're watching it any other time, hashtag recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if this is your first time here, we're going to have everybody give hearts and likes. This is to welcome you to Pray First. And the sound is great. Thank you, Barbie.
Thank you, Barbie.
Man, look at those hearts and likes. That's for you if it's your first time here from wherever you are.
Hey, Chip.
Welcome. Good morning, good noon, afternoon, good evening, wherever it is.
Whatever time you're watching us.
So we work with Pastor Doug on a regular basis, and he's taking a little break, and we're just sitting in for him. And we're going through 31 days of wisdom.
31
Are
days.
you any wiser? We've had 4 chapters. I feel like I'm pretty wise now, right?
Yes. I think I'm wise as well.
So we've been doing this in different versions. I primarily do it in the New King James, but and we're going to read. Ann's going to read it in her favorite version today. But we encourage you to listen to it, read it in any other version you'd like. I want you to share this on your personal page, share it out public, so everyone can see it and get some wisdom too.
Yes.
So we're in chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Of Proverbs today.
Day 5, chapter 5. I like it.
Yes, and Ann has a real good reading voice.
Yes, I did.
And she's going to read this. Thank you for being here to read. And she's going to commentate as well. And then we're going to discuss it. But you guys interact with us and give us your thoughts as we go along. And right now, hashtag yay.
Yay, hashtag yay.
That she's reading, not me.
You are so funny. Okay, so my favorite version is actually the NASB. So I'm going to be reading out of the NASB this morning. And that's the New American Standard Version. And we've also been listening to this through the Message, which is, I always enjoy that as well.
You've got to listen to this in the Message.
In the Message.
It's very blunt, but there's some things I feel like that I bring out that I need my version. And yours is close to the New King James as well.
Yes, very close.
Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 5. My son, give attention to my wisdom, incline your ear to my understanding, that you may observe discretion and your lips may reserve knowledge. For the lips of an adulteress drip honey, and smoother than oil is her speech. But in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold of Sheol. She does not ponder the path of life. Her ways are unstable, she does not know it. Now then, my sons, listen to me, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house. Or you will give your vigor to others, and your years to the cruel one. And strangers will be filled with your strength, and your hard-earned goods will go to the house of an alien. And you groan at your final end, when your flesh and your body are consumed. And you say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart spurned reproof. I have not listened to the voice of my teachers, nor have inclined my ear to my instructors. I was almost in utter ruin in the midst of the assembly and the congregation. Drink water from your own cistern and fresh water from your own well. Should your springs be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets? Let them be yours alone, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. As a loving hind and graceful doe, let her breast satisfy you at all times. Be exhilarated always with her love. For why should you, my son, be exhilarated with an adulteress, and embrace the bosom of a foreigner? For the ways of a man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he watches all his paths. His own iniquities will capture the wicked, and he will be held with the cords of his sin. He will die for lack of instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he will go astray.
Okay.
All right.
As I said before, this is a book of instruction, of wisdom, And it also talks about, mine gives a heading of perils of adultery. I don't know if yours has a heading or not.
I don't have headings in
But
this Bible.
I know in chapter 3 we talk about being guidance for youth, and he talks to youth when we're young. And I think this is he says, pay attention to my wisdom. Pay attention to it, that you may preserve discretion. Your lips keep knowledge. And then he says, for the lips of an immoral woman drip honey. And this could be turned, we've talked about this before, it can go either way. He's speaking to a son, but to a daughter, it can go the same way with male or female. We talked about that, and I'm glad we've got both sides of that covered today.
Yes.
But yeah, instruction and warning. Sometimes there's warnings, but he's saying keep wisdom, and then he says, and that your lips may keep knowledge, for the lips of an immoral woman drip honey. You can interject anything. We're going to take this just like we've been doing, and Ann's going to fill in what there are a lot of perspectives that she has, and we do this sometimes on stage after our pastor at our church. So we're used to filling in with each other. So you just
All right.
hammer away.
So, looking at it, obviously, I think that in the first section, what really jumped out at me is when he's describing this immoral woman and the temptation that he's afraid his son will be tempted by. He's saying that he talks about how her lips are like honey. So it's something sweet. Sin is enticing. It's not like he's being attracted to something gross. It's the sweetness that he's attracted to.
Yeah.
And also when he's talking about her, her words, it's like it's the flattery. It's like the oil, it's like she's flattering him. She's enticing him with something sweet. It's like
Yes.
an analogy is like if you think about a fish. You know how I am with analogies. Everything's an analogy in my brain, but it helps me relate, so I'm going to share it. So when you go fishing and you use a hook, you don't send that hook out there. The fish isn't going to go, oh, look, there's a silver hook. Let me grab it and have it kill me. No, you wrap a worm around the hook. You disguise the hook, and so the fish...
Hook.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's what this analogy is like, she's casting herself disguised as something sweet, flattering the person, hoping that he'll bite. But just like when a fish bites the hook, that's the end of him, because, he becomes, pan fry. But I think the thing is, sorry, it's, it's just like wormwood. In the end, it's the path that takes you down to hell.
That's right.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and as he knows as a young man, his son's going to want to hear that flattered. Oh, you're so strong,
You're so handsome.
Yeah, ooh, you're smart too. You wise, and then all the times like just being the deer in the headlights. Yeah, I'm wise. Discretion. He said that you may preserve discretion, and your lips keep knowledge. And understanding. So he's getting some good instruction here, and he's telling him what he would want him to know, because in the end, there's some things, decisions we can make that affect us for a lifetime. We're going to see that on in here. Her mouth is smoother than oil. I'm glad you brought that out, because let's get that wheel moving and smooth. I just fixed some hinges at my house. You could get the door almost there and think you were being quiet, and it's like squeak. So you put some oil in there, and it takes that away. But what happens here is it can take away your good knowledge, your good understanding, and discretion. So in the end, she's bitter as wormwood. So the end here we're talking about is not good.
No.
And I don't know that there's always an end to it. Somewhere in the Old Testament they talked about women needing heirs or children, and they would be trickery. But in the end, this is her, says her feet go down to death, and her steps lay hold of hell. Lest you ponder her path of life, her ways are unstable. You don't know these ways. You don't even understand the ways that you're trying to be enticed into. And I think you covered really well that part there.
I'm going to pause on you because I love the fact that you pointed out the word discretion. Because discretion, think about discretion. Discretion is the choices you make in the behavior you use in those circumstances. So, you're going to, you behave differently, like if you're, at the president's, place versus if you're just at home. So it's discretion. It's using that wisdom to know by looking at the signs. And I love how he points these things out. Hey, if she's luring you, if it's the flattery, use discretion Do not depart from the words of my mouth. He's like, hey,
Yeah.
keep away from this.
Yeah. It begins slow in the morning. You remember
Yes.
how I've given you all this instruction?
Yes.
Let me tell you about this.
Yes.
So he's getting a little deeper now. It says, therefore, hear me now, my children. Do not depart from the words of my mouth. And again, don't stray from this instruction. It's important. It's like getting somebody, listen to me, child.
Right.
This is important.
Ooh, I like that because it's so true. That's exactly what we're doing. I mean, Solomon, think about how many times we tell our kids, listen, and how many times we have to repeat ourselves to our children. This is Solomon to his children. This is God to us. There's all these parallels. You know, we see the way we do it with our kids as well. The repetitiveness is important.
Yes.
Sorry,
Remember,
Jared.
don't touch the hot stove.
Don't touch
And there are not a lot of hot stoves, and we have central air, but there are things. I'm giving you an analogy. We love analogies.
We do.
Yeah. And this is one thing. It's like he yells this at him. Remove your way far from her. Don't go there.
Don't go there.
See the signs.
Yes.
Not everyone who speaks flattery to you has your best, your well-being in mind or at heart. It says, don't go near the door of her house. Man, that says a lot there. But let's keep moving. It says, lest you give your honor to others and your ears to the cruel one, lest aliens be filled with your wealth and your labors go to the house of a foreigner. He's speaking like maybe this is being involved with, with, I think yours brought out, said a harlot and maybe a prostitute. Maybe that, you'll give all your money, and when the money's gone, she's gone. And it can be, like I say, we're not being we are being gender specific because the scripture reads that way, but think about in the New Testament, the warnings Jesus gave, this applies to both.
Absolutely, because he's being very specific, like you said, in the time and age that this was written, but to bring it relevant to 2020 and going from, like we said, the female perspective, young women out there, pay attention. You're going to have older men or wiser men or more experienced men is probably the right way, and they're going to come to you and they're going to know exactly what to say to make you feel precious, to make you feel pretty, to make you feel like if you would just that you would complete them. And so then you're going to want to. Women feel entrapped with this just as much as men. You're longing for that connection, you're being with that man, and then what happens many times, once you're conquered, then the man moves on and then you're left there. So it's it's like Renee said, bad boys are out there too. You got the bad boys, you've got the loose women, I guess, and it's
Yeah, I raised 5 daughters and 1 son, so yeah, them bad boys are out there.
Yes.
So, man, I'm glad we're covering both sides of it. It's easy to just look at one part of it, so I'm glad we're being able to cover both sides.
I'm sorry,
of
Gloria
this.
just said bye, Felicia. Continue. Okay.
Okay. And say, and then you would say when you're left like this with whether you're male or female, and they're gone and they've used you, so to speak, and they're gone, you would say, how I've hated instruction.
Right.
Man, I remember Dad or Mom telling me about this. I remember watching Pray First, and there was 2 of them there, one to cover the man's side, one to cover the one side, and how I hated their instruction, ignored their instruction. So remember these things.
Right, because exactly. I love the fact that Solomon points that out. I hated the instruction, but if I would have listened to them. And that's, how many times it's not only our wisdom from the experiences that we evaluate, but you should also evaluate the experiences of others. Yeah. Learn from others' mistakes, not just your own. And Solomon, I think, was uniquely qualified because of his heritage. Remember, his King David, his dad, David.
Dad was king.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he was with, his dad had an adulterous affair with his mother, Bathsheba, before they got married. And so
you can just imagine David telling him, hey, you know what happened here.
You're right.
And giving him instruction. And then we know Solomon, God said, what do you want? And he said, I want wisdom.
I want wisdom.
So,
okay.
And let me just
continue.
My heart we could go way out there and follow the squirrels out. And my heart despised correction. I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to those who instructed me. I was on the verge of total ruin in the midst of the assembly of congregation. Now, keep in mind, Solomon would have been prominent. Yeah, he was king, but you're prominent in your family.
Wise.
You're prominent in your family, so keep that in mind as you give instruction. And I love this next one. Drink from your own cistern, and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets. Drink from your own cistern. It's good for a man to be married. It's good for a woman to be married and have your own wife and drink from your own cistern. In other words, stay in your own house. Don't go looking for strangers.
Right.
And don't follow the smooth words of, well, I don't have to do your laundry, so I'm the one that can know you best, and we can have fun while your wife does your laundry.
Yeah, and for me, when I was reading that, it's water. So he could have used any analogy, but he chose water. He didn't choose food, it was water. And so water is what, you have to have water for life. I mean, like you can't, 3 days you can go without water?
Maybe, yeah, about 3,
And
yeah.
so it's like, you need to drink, you need to sustain yourself from the water that's within this.
Provided for you.
Exactly.
Even God provides for this. There's provision provided for it. Exactly. Let them be only your own and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth. He says, in other words, from your youth even, take care of this. That doesn't mean you get married when you're 15, but it means that from the wife of your youth, when you're starting your marriage.
Right, because I think sometimes it's easy after, people, after you're married for a while or even for a little, you just because it's something that has always been, still delight in your spouse from when you were younger.
Oh, I do with my wife. I'm like, you still with me? 23 years, and she's still with me. And sometimes she likes me as much as she loves me.
Whatever it is. Pam still delights as you do.
Yes. We delight in each other. And let me see. Let me skip on down. It talks about even how describes how let her be like the loving deer or the roe. And there's some description there. Be satisfied with your wife. Okay.
Yes.
Keep that fire burning.
And with your husband.
And always be enraptured with her love.
That's good.
And say, Pastor Dennis got deep today.
You're so
For
funny.
why should you, my son, be enraptured with an immoral woman? Why in the world, when you've got a wife or a husband, would you want to be enraptured with someone else? Why should I let my wife be enraptured with someone else? Why not let her be enraptured with me? In other words, be the husband that she needs. Be the wife that someone needs.
Agreed.
And you want to go be embraced in the arms of a seductor who has no good intent for you. Okay. For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord. And this is very important. Our ways are before God, and He ponders all our paths. He watches our paths. You mentioned this before. That we're always, God is following us. We should follow God because He's watching our paths. His own iniquities entrap the not God's but man's iniquities entrap the wicked. Her iniquities entrap the wicked man, and he's caught in the cords of his sin. There's deliverance from sin.
Yes.
And we talked about this earlier. There's deliverance from the immoral woman if you get entrapped, but you can save yourself so much trouble, so many things from not going into immorality and being seduced, whether it's by a man or by a woman. You got some more on that, or any closing thoughts there?
Well, just like what he's saying is just like God is very aware. I mean, He knows what we're thinking, He knows what we're doing, and so He sees these traps. And if we take the time to actually dive in and that's the whole purpose of why this is provided. We have a method to gain our wisdom. We read through this. It's not just reading it; it's that we have to apply it. And again, I'll go back to, you can learn from your experiences and be wise. You can learn from other people's experiences and be wise. So we can learn from what Solomon did, what David did, what people around us did, both old and new, and know that we can make wiser choices to avoid some of the traps, to avoid it's generational things too. You've got to. It's not just now. It's not just in the here and now. You got to look for the future, and that's what I like.
Real good.
That's what I like. What chapter 5 talks about. It's not just now, but even in the future. Don't throw away what you have for something that's luring you, that's going to end up destroying you.
Yeah. Lay a foundation. And you may say, well, I've made so many mistakes, I'm older. So what?
So what?
Let Get in that foundation
Starting
be
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be for your generations. Even in, okay, I'm single. Well, then you're going to have a foundation for someone else to see. People see us. People watch us.
Yes.
So anyway, that's chapter 5.
That's chapter 5.
If you guys enjoyed it, give out some hearts and likes. Thank you for being with us today. Parting words, it says here that a man shall die for lack of instruction. Like Ann said, you get wisdom. Wisdom is not just going to knock you down and say, here, take me. You get wisdom. You watch, you learn.
Yes.
31 days of wisdom. Guys, we love you. See you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Pray us out, Dennis.
Yeah. Hey, you want to pray?
No,
I'll pray.
I should.
Okay. Lord, thank you so much for today, Lord. Thank you that we can see wisdom. We can get wisdom. We can walk in wisdom, Lord. It's not something just for others that we can't do, but we can follow you and know that you'll guide us in all truth and wisdom. Bless everyone, Lord. I pray you be with everyone that's either getting surgeries, sick in the hospital, or sick at home, or just I pray against depression, against anxiety. Lord, all those things that try to close in or that we go through, and I pray you watch over and bring healing. In Jesus' name, and all God's people said.
Amen.
Amen.
Have
Love
a great
you guys.
day.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.